So last class all I did was block in the value and I blended it, and then I started pulling out the highlights with my eraser and getting some texture in the hair. So that's pretty much all I did um, last class. So now I'm going to start to really refine it, and I'm going to start paying attention to a little bit more texture, and I'm going to show you a couple different techniques for trying to get different hair, because everybody's going to be drawing a hair that's a little different, so it's kind of tricky. So now that I've got most of the values on here and I've done blending and I've pulled out some highlights, now I really want to pay attention to the details like the eyes, and then the details like the mouth and the nose, so the features. That will make things pop. And also really paying attention to, well, where is my bright white and where is my dark dark, because that's also going to make it pop quite a bit. So first thing I'm going to do is just go in here with the tip of my blending stump, and I'm going to just do a little bit of smoothing, and you can get rid, like, the rough edges are gone. It's just a few of them that I haven't really blended yet because I wanted to take time with it. And making sure I'm leaving, some variation in the color of the eye. I think her eyes are blue, so I'm actually going to go in and maybe lighten up the eye just a little bit. Okay, and then it might be a good idea if you had like a pencil with an eraser on the end of it. That's a really good tool for like getting eraser details out of the eyes. So if I wanted to go in and like really get some sharper highlights in there, I'm going to put this over here so I don't smear what I'm touching. And I'm just going to start to pull out some kind of more value in here. I'm really kind of looking up close at the eye. Bunny is shaking. And then I think that her eyebrow, she's got really light kind of white-ish hair. So the eyebrow is not going to be that dark. So I'm going to lighten that up a bit. It's barely even there. And even with this, I can kind of go around and add some more details. Wherever I see some more highlight, you can have a little bit more control with this tool. So even the difference between this eye and this eye, all of a sudden, just from a little erasing, you can kind of see a difference. I'm going to work on this eye. I think there's a lot more white of the eye showing over here, so I'm going to actually erase here a bit and kind of redraw that area. Maybe the pupil's a little too big. Now I feel like this pupil's too big, so I'm going to fix this one now. So when you really start to get in there and look, that's when you're going to discover some of these tiny little details that will really make your piece look a lot more realistic if you can figure out what they are. And then the iris pupil part is more in the middle. Okay, I'm going to work on a little bit of erasing on this side. And because she's older, she has some kind of folds and wrinkles over here that I can add that will really make it look more realistic. I'll probably do a little bit of blending so they don't look so stark. like back and forth, you know, you do a little shading and you do a little blending and you do a little erasing, back and forth. Okay, so just by adding a little bit more shadow and highlight right here, I've made her look a little older, which is sort of accurate to what I'm seeing in the portrait. And then this eyebrow needs to definitely get lighter. And maybe if I wanted to add a little hair to this, I could just actually draw with the eraser. You see how I'm just kind of like sort of like scraping with the eraser? I'm pulling it away to making it lighter, but I'm giving it a texture while I'm doing it. And then I can kind of do the same thing on this side. All right, gonna brighten up some of her face here. Like, where is the brightest part of that cheek? Right there. And then there's a nice little like highlight that comes around here. And this is not as dark, so I'll probably lighten this shadow up. I feel like her nose is crooked. I need to fix that. Move this nostril over and up. All these little details are really going to be what makes your portrait look finished. Okay, so I could just keep working on this, and I will in front of you, but I'm going to show you one more thing, and then I'm going to come look at your work here. But that's how I want you to move through and really do details, is really pay attention to each little thing you're looking at. So let's talk about hair. Her hair is really going to be fun to draw. I've already started because it's kind of moosed up, right? And it's kind of spiky and like going in all these different directions. So that's going to be fun to draw. So what did I do? Well, the first thing I did was I took my charcoal and I just added where I saw shadow first, and I blended it all in. And I even used my blending stump to kind of give it the hair texture, right? So I'm kind of going in the direction of the hair, even from the start. And then once I did that, then I went in with my big eraser and I did some more streaky hair lines with the eraser, which created a really neat effect. You can see it kind of looks like three-dimensional hair now, but it still doesn't really look that finished yet. So what's the next step of like detail that I could do to this? Well, you're going to take your charcoal back in, and in between all those little streaks, I'm going to put some more dark lines. And I'm going to kind of make the hair look a little bit finer by doing that. You can see kind of the difference between that and this. It looks a little bit more like hair. And I'm still looking at my reference image. I'm still trying to capture what I see. And I'm drawing in the direction the hair is going. Now some of you, I know a couple of you are doing Da Vinci, and he has a really like big curly beard. So So like, how would I do curls, you might be asking yourself, or me. So I could show you how to do that too. This takes time. Don't rush through it. If you find yourself doing things really quickly, you want to try to slow yourself down. Got time to do it. Realism doesn't come quickly. Sometimes things that are less realistic can come quicker. Sometimes, not all. We can't assume that abstract art is fast. That would be a wrong assumption. But we do know that realism takes time. Okay, so once I kind of draw those in, I'm going to take my blending stump one more time, and I'm just going to streak it. Not super blendy, but I want to keep those lines. But I'm adding more lines by doing this. More delicate lines. And then I can even go back in with the eraser on my pencil and look at, well, where do I see the most highlights? It's on this side of her face. So I'm going to go in and do some real bright streaks over here. I can even draw. See how I can draw with the eraser? I can draw lines with it. Okay, so I'm gonna stop right now. I'll keep working on it later. But I wanted to show a few of you, well, how do you do something like curls? Well, it's a good idea. Of course, you have your reference image, right? So I'm going to actually pull up a reference image of curls so that I can make sure. In your lecture, there's a reference image of curls. There's like a hair texture slide, and there's some curls on there. So I'm going to pull that up. So curls are a little harder. There's a lot of shadow and a lot of highlight in the curls. So my advice to you is to just start by putting the lines in. Maybe drawing like the shape of a curl first. Because the curls are hanging in clumps, right? So you want to kind of get that clump drawn in first. Okay, so once you do that, then you can go in and you can imagine that like behind the curl and on the curve of a curl is where you're going to see the shadow, the most shadow. Okay, and then you would take your blending stump and you'd kind of get in there and sort of draw over, but still I'm maintaining my lines. I'm not really blending everything. I'm just drawing over. And then I can kind of get some lighter grays just by sort of drawing with the charcoal that's on my blending stump. Of course, you're going to have a gray ground underneath all this, so I forgot to put that down. And then you can take your eraser and you can draw over that to get some highlights in there. Okay, so that's how you would get curls, something curly. All right, do I have any questions? Other than I need feedback? How do you do glasses? Okay, that's a good question. Let me find someone in here that might have glasses. None of the artists I chose have glasses, but I can find someone real quick. Oh, I know. Emilio, who are you doing again?
I'm doing David Garbelli.
Oh, right. Okay, and he has those like dark rimmed glasses, right?
I see he's wearing glasses. I can't really see blend. I don't know.
Does he have glasses in the photo that you're drawing of him?
He does.
Okay. Oh, I remember we had trouble finding a good photo of him because everything online is his art. I'm going to use someone else just because I think it'll be easier to show you guys. So we did this drawing in my other classes practice. Let me share my screen for a sec. This is Dan Levy. He's an actor, and this is just a great photograph. So what I would recommend doing is drawing the face first before you do any glasses. And the glasses are just basically like a shape. Actually, let me use this. I'll use this other side here. So we could pretend like this is sort of like a generic Dan Levy face, right? So let me just do a quick like little get him in there. And then I'll show you. We'll pretend like we're ready. We've done all our blending and we're ready for the glasses. Okay, and he's got these crazy big eyebrows here. Okay, so this is sort of a general sketch, right? It doesn't really look like him yet, but I wanted to show you the glasses. So once you get this all drawn in, you wouldn't have an ear over here. And you've blended and you've added, you know, your values. Maybe I'll do a quick little value addition just to help you guys visualize. Okay, and then we've blended it and we've added some value in there. Some highlight. Okay, so glasses. After you get pretty much everything done, right, then you're going to draw the glasses because they're sitting on top, right? And this is better to know that your feature's in the right place first. So you're just going to draw the inside shape of the glasses. And it's really important to kind of get the negative space correct inside. These glasses are pretty big on his face. Draw the inside shape first before you draw the outside shape. Once you get the inside shape, then the outside shape's pretty easy because they're very thin. These kind of come off his face. It's really as simple as that. And there's going to be interesting shadows inside the face because of the glasses. Like I can actually see a shadow of his glasses on his face right there. So those things are going to make it look more realistic. Shadow here, there's a shadow here. Okay, that was sort of a quick sketch.
That's better than mine.
I know. You guys are doing great. All right, so I'm gonna go wash my fingers so that I can get on the computer and look at your feedback. If you want feedback, post it in there and I will jump in there and do it.
Miss Graninger, right now, are we going to be drawing teeth?
Does your person have teeth?
Yeah, they're smiling.
Yes, then the answer is yes. Don't worry about the teeth yet. Just put like the mouth and the opening of the mouth, and then I